What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone. And we are trying to swap Vlahovic for Theo Hernandez. Real or fake? Actually, not far-fetched. Despite the source being absolutely horrendous, it makes quote-unquote sense from the club's perspective, not even because of positions being filled, but because of the situations of both players. And if that's not crazy enough, there's also news that we're selling Gregorio because Stegen is an option and we can fetch a big fee for Gregorio. So a wild news report, story, video, whatever you want to call it. So before we get into it, as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's unpack the... Yeah, I'm all over the place. So sorry. Okay, so the first bit of news, Vlahovic for Theo, quote-unquote older news, but it's still circulating, and it's very simple. Milan want to move on Theo. Theo wants to move. Vlahovic potentially wants to move because of his wage, and we are willing to move on Vlahovic. Allegri likes Vlahovic, we like Theo Hernandez. That's kind of the story. So, 1 + 1 is 2. Just swap the players. The valuation of Theo is not that high. Vlahovic's valuation is not that high. Both clubs having an issue with getting what they want with the transfer fee, so help each other out. Easy, simple, right? More so for Milan, in my opinion, because Vlahovic's value on the books is a bit higher. So that's kind of an issue for us. They need a striker. We don't need Theo Hernandez, quote unquote. Depending on what you're going to do with Cambiasso, he's going to play on the right, whatever. But technically, you don't need Theo Hernandez. So for us, it's more of a difficult situation or like a stranger situation. But for them, for Milan, well, they need a striker. Yeah, they have Jimenez, but Allegri likes Vlahovic. And, well, the contract situation, it's an easy target. It's a more realistic target, and the wages, those will fix itself, I guess. You know, we will lower, or the club Milan will be willing to spend the amount of money Vlahovic is demanding, or close to the amount of money. And for them as well, it's like we cannot move on Theo. He doesn't want to go to the Saudi. Atletico are lowballing us. They're getting Robertson on a very cheap as well, so they don't need him anymore. And we are stuck with a player we don't really want because we have had some issues with him in the past. And within the past, I mean past season as well. And everybody saw that. It's well documented. So that's the crazy news. Can that deal happen? Actually, should we be willing to do that deal? I want money for Vlahovic because I want the club to reinvest that money in center backs and a striker. Those are main things right now. I don't think getting Theo Hernandez is going to help us when in that position, it's not really a must. We need money to get a striker and center backs. A midfielder, depending, what's going to happen with the others, but definitely a center back, a better center back, and a striker. We need, a striker 100%, maybe 2, depending what's going to happen with Colomani, but also a center back. So getting Theo Hernandez, it's not really helping us other than, well, you move on Vlahovic, and that's something you were trying to do, basically, because his valuation is not that high. But club-wise, squad-wise, building the squad, building your team, it's not really going to move the needle, is it? Quality-wise, in that position, you get better, obviously, but the other positions are in trouble. And that can definitely not happen. Even though it sounds all nice on paper, you get one problem, quote unquote, out of the way, and the other team gets another problem, quote unquote, out of the way. It's not really that, smart from our perspective, unless something's going to happen with Cambiasso and others as well. We don't know about that. Now, what's even worse is this one from Giovanni Albanese, is that Ter Stegen is a possibility because we want to keep Di Gregorio, but we could decide to sell him if big Premier League offers come in. Now, the news is out there. Man City want Di Gregorio, or they're interested in Di Gregorio. But, like Mirko Di Natale confirmed, Di Gregorio is not interested to join because he wants to stay at the club. He wants to win at the club. I've seen other reports as well, is that Di Gregorio, forget about the winning part, just for family reasons, he doesn't want to move away from Italy. You know, he wants to stay. Before he joined us, he had opportunities to join Liverpool. Yeah, his agent spoke about it, but he wanted to join Juve because he wants to stay in Italy. So I don't see the thing. Now, if Man City comes in, they're like 50, 60 million, the club probably will think about it. But if you think about it, then Ter Stegen is 100% not the answer. First off, I never rated Ter Stegen, so maybe that's kind of an issue. But right now, he is awful. Like, he is one awful goalkeeper. He has a mistake in him basically every single game. And not just, oh, that was close. Just boneheaded mistakes where he's like, where you're watching and you're like, are you for real? He's 33. So that's not a possibility. I don't care what Giovanni Albanese said. That's not a possibility. A possibility of Di Gregorio leaving, if an insane offer comes in, I can see that happening, or like the club being open for that to happen. Not saying it's going to materialize, but when it comes to Ter Stegen being his replacement, that can 100% not be the case at all. That's a complete disaster. That will go against everything you try to do as a club, you know, quality-wise, Italian-wise, whatever, age-wise, wage-wise. That will be an absolute no-go. So that's why I believe it's absolutely not going to happen. But don't be shocked if an offer for Di Gregorio comes in from the Premier League. I've seen Liverpool, but that doesn't really make sense at this moment in time. But when it comes to Man City, yeah, because Ederson has offers from the Saudi league, and Man City want to move on from Ederson. They're not going to push him out, but if Ederson is leaving, they're not going to, you know, lose sleep over it. Let me put it in that way. But then, yeah, they need a replacement, and apparently they like Di Gregorio. Ball playing, okay, you know, not Ederson, but he's a better goalkeeper, like actually stopping the ball than Ederson, obviously. But with his feet, Ederson is on a different level. So that's also quite interesting. But yeah, like the more time passes and we are at the Club World Cup, the more strange news will come out where it's like, that's absolutely ridiculous. But then you think about it for a second, you're like, yeah, it's ridiculous, but you know, maybe that piece could be true. And if you do 1+1, it's 2. And yeah, 2 seems very unlikely, but you need to keep it in the back of your mind because some part of it could be true and some things could evolve into a bigger story, something concrete, something real. We don't know. Anyways, let me know in the comments what do you think about a potential Vlahovic-Theo swap. Do we need Theo Hernandez? And if so, is that the perfect way to quote-unquote move out Vlahovic out of this team? Let me know in the comments. Like the video. As always, subscribe to the channel, and we will speak each other very soon, depending on how the news will evaluate. Ciao.